Did your partner ever ask you if you wanted to get naked and you were just like, I don't wanna, but you didn't have a reason? Like you weren't really tired, you didn't have a headache, you weren't super stressed out. You had just gotten your pajamas on and decided that you wanted to go to sleep, right? Today on the Sex After Kids podcast, I'm going to share something I haven't shared in a very long time, which is a bedroom dispatch. What does that mean? That means I'm going to share a very real life story from my very real life sex life and walk you through how I use a lot of the tools that I share with my couples in the Naked Fun Comeback and in my programs that helped me to go from always saying no and always feeling like shit about it to being more open to, more receptive to, and having more yummy intimacy. Whether you are the higher or lower libido partner in this equation, you're going to want to grab some popcorn because we're going to go dish the good stuff. How did it all start? Well, it was bedtime. What am I going to say? 10:30-ish. I had just finished doing some work. Kids had gone to bed. I get my jammies on. And I guess a little context was in the morning when I was getting dressed, I was feeling, I don't know, this jolt of playful dorkiness hit me. And I'm getting changed. And I just decided to shake my boobs at my husband. And I was like shy and weird about it, but I did it and we kind of had a little laugh. So, fast forward to the evening, I'm getting ready for bed. I'm naked, I'm getting my pajamas on. And he's like, "Hey, how about a little shake?" And I'm like, "Oh, do I want to?" And I did a little one. But the thing that I did here that a lot of you don't do is I communicated. I said, "Is this an ask for intimacy or is this just a little silly moment?" Right? Because for those of you high libido partners listening, when he said, "Could I get a little shake?" my brain instantly went to, if I do this, I'm going to have to go all the way tonight. So instead of making that assumption, instead of staying in my brain gremlins about it, I just asked, "Are you hoping for this to escalate into more, or is this just a little fun moment?" And he was like, "Just a little fun moment. I'm just enjoying your body. Is that okay?" "Yes, yes, cool, cool, fun, fun." Okay. So I put my pajamas on. I cuddle into bed. I've been sleeping with an eye mask because we have 24 hours of sunlight here. And I snuggle up a little closer than usual. So I will admit, context for this, I should double check, but I'm probably late follicular in my cycle, closing in on ovulation. So what that means is I'm not raging hot horny, but the door is definitely a little bit more open in the sense that I even considered shaking my boobs at my partner, right? So I snuggle in a little bit closer. We're lying there. I'm getting ready to spoon. And then he's like, "Oh, I guess my body is a little bit ready. Maybe we could." And I instantly go into deer in headlights moment. Okay. If you are a lower libido partner, you will know this very feeling, which is where you're like, half of you's like, "Maybe I could. It's been a little minute. I'll be ovulating soon." And then luteal soon, where I might not be as open to it. And then the other part of me's calculating, like, what excuse can I give? "Well, I just put my pajamas on. Now you want me to take them off." "Well, I have my eye mask. I'm ready for bed." I couldn't come up with anything good. Now, this isn't to say that a no has to have a reason, okay? If you don't want to, you don't have to. The question I had to ask myself was, am I open to the possibility, right? And am I in the maybe zone, right? We talk about the traffic lights. Am I a full green? Yes. Am I a full red? No. Or am I in the maybe? And I wasn't a full red. No, I was in the maybe. So I said, "Yeah, but I don't really want to put a lot of effort in tonight." "Okay." And then he was like, "All right, well, you're wearing your blindfold. So you just keep that on and I will do my thing." "Okay, cool." So he dives in, he's doing the things. I am having a hard time getting into the moment. I'm trying to focus on the sensations in my body and the nervous system reactions that tell me I am, not relaxing into this are I'm feeling annoyed by things that don't normally annoy me, like the sounds that are happening with the kissing and other things like that. And so I'm just aware that my nervous system, it's on high alert, okay? So I do my work to take some breaths, relax, but also I will note we didn't really communicate clearly about what was happening here. So he said, "You have your blindfold on, keep it on, like your eye mask, keep it on." And I think he just meant, like, "I don't want you to do any work, just relax and do the thing." And I thought he was like, "Ooh, you have your blindfold on. We could play a blindfold sort of game." But we didn't communicate that, right? So we're mucking around for a little bit, and it's starting to feel a little awkward to me. And finally, like most of you do not do, okay, I just hit the pause button and I said, "Hey, what are we doing here? Are we playing some kind of blindfold mystery thing? Or are we just doing our usual warm up? What is actually happening here?" Because what I want you to imagine is up until that point, I'm in my head thinking about what's happening, feeling a little bit confused, uncertain about what he's up to, where he's going, what he's doing. And he's in his head trying whatever he's trying, probably wondering if I'm enjoying it because I was literally lying there, kind of like moot. And I was doing that on purpose because I was trying to kind of play this blindfold game where I was just going to enjoy whatever mystery he was going to offer, but the vibe was totally off. So rather than just keep playing along with it, I spoke up and was like, "This is feeling kind of weird. Can we hit the reset button?" So we clarified intention, we clarified what was happening. We started kissing again. We get into it. I am still having a hard time at this point. Now, I will say, this is an appropriate time to hit the off ramp. Okay. And I talked about this in a client coaching session the other day, and the gent in the call looked at me like I was nuts in the sense that he was like, "You can do that? You can just stop midway?" And I was like, "Yeah." Now, we had to unpack what to do about that emotionally with any frustration or resentment that might come up or irritation or whatever. But yes, you can just go, "We've been trying this for 10 minutes and I'm not getting my body there today. So why don't we stop?" And the reason I want you to do that is because if you keep going and you keep dragging yourself there and you keep showing up without saying anything, or you say things but your partner keeps going, or you sense that your partner's not into it but you keep going, you have created another sort of a negative or mediocre experience, which creates that merry-go-round of avoidance where we didn't create crave-worthy connection. Okay. And there's a difference between having a quickie that's satisfying and dragging myself through something that's really not fun. Okay. My body's going to armor up next time. Whereas if we stop halfway, even if it feels like a failure, even if it feels like, "Oh man, we tried and whatever," you have given your partner's body a positive cue that your partner can listen to their own body and you will listen to their own body, and you won't drag them and you won't drag yourself through an experience that's not fun. And that gives your body a sense of trust that it will be heard, which means next time it can go, "Well, we got heard last time. And if we need to stop, we can stop. So I don't need to armor up because if I ever need an out, I can have an out." Now, there's nuance to this and there's an art to this, but we could have just hit the off ramp in that moment. And we almost did, right? We made out for another 10 minutes. And I just was like, "Okay, I'm really struggling to get here tonight. I don't know what is up, but this is not working for me." So then I suggested another tact. For us, what works really well right now is I use my own fingers on me, warm myself up. My body just is familiar and happy that way. And once I've had that first orgasm, it's a lot easier for me to then have pleasure with my partner. So we did that. I had a fucking phenomenal orgasm that I would have otherwise missed had I decided that I didn't want to, just because I already had my jammies and my sleep mask on. Okay. And I am feeling fabulous this morning. Fabulous as a result of said orgasm and said multiple orgasms because they just kept rolling last night. Holy moly. That is the point of the story, my friends. Okay. Why do I share this? I share this because I want to normalize what not movie fucking sex, but real sex can look like. Okay. There's multiple ways that you could look at this as a failure or not good enough because I wasn't raging horny and I didn't want to rip my partner's clothes off and I wasn't magically turned on by whatever he was doing. And this is not a skill issue for my partner. This is whatever my nervous system was doing that day, was just having a harder time getting in the mode. And he could have taken that personally and shut down and decided not to, or he could just make it not about him. I was just giving him feedback about what my body needed in that moment. And we collaborated together. Even though we had some fits and starts, we communicated throughout. And we both ended up having an amazing time. And this morning, I'm slapping his butt and I'm more flirty and I'm happier and we're just having a great time because we went there. Okay. This is the skill and the mindset and all of the pieces that I teach in the Naked Fun Comeback and in my programs. Okay. This is about understanding how to create a party that your body wants to come to, how to create a party that your partner's libido wants to come to, normalizing talking a lot during sex, normalizing that awkward moments are okay and they don't have to be the off ramp. They don't have to be the fuck it, this isn't working, let's walk away moment. They can be like, let's sit here in the discomfort for 30 extra seconds and ask ourselves what might work to take us forward. So, where do we go from here? Well, there's so many different ways you can go from here, but the easiest or the next step, if you want to recreate an experience like this, is to grab the Naked Fun Toolkit. Okay. It's a 2-part workshop. So you do the first part together as a workshop as a team where you learn how to plan a party your libido wants to come to. And the second part is where you actually have a guided date night. I share 3 of my favorite transition tools, essentially. So I guide you through 3 activities to get you from that deer in the headlights moment to, oh, maybe I could be open to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, right? So let me rephrase that in a second. If we travel back to the beginning, right? My partner said, "Do you want to?" And I said, "Maybe." And I set a limit around what I was willing to do, but I would have done myself 20 more favors or a lot more favors had I said, I'm open to it. Can we do this transition activity and then this transition activity and see if I'm closer? And if we had created more structure for my body instead of this loosey goosey, like maybe we're playing a blindfold game and maybe we're not, then I would have been less in that uncertainty and my nervous system could have relaxed a bit more and been present a little bit more. So if you want to learn how to do this for yourself, grab the Naked Fun Toolkit. Find me over in the DMs if you want to know more about whether this is going to work for you. I always love hearing your comments. I always love hearing how this lands. If you want to hear more dispatches from my bedroom, more real life stories for like how to practically apply these skills, then that is what I am here for. I will catch you next week, my babes. Dearest gentlemen listeners, to my dearest gentlemen listeners, those of you with high libidos who identify as male, I have put together something very special for you because I have been talking to way too many of you in my DMs who are ready to join the Naked Fun Comeback, but you are terrified of talking to your partner or you already know it's a hard no. So the question becomes, what can you do then? Go to therapy, read another book, try having another conversation. What you're going to do is join the First Move. This is my men's only group coaching program, July through September of 2026. And over 6 weeks, we're going to dismantle the 4 most common traps that I see you falling into. We are going to end your era of overdoing to keep the peace. We are going to end your era of sort of doing the mental load, but not all the way. We are going to end your era of keeping your feels to yourself, bottling them up, and then having them spill all over your partner. And we are going to end the era of you not saying what you truly mean anymore. We're going to help you to show up with leadership to the conversation, to mental load, to your personal feelings and emotions so that you stop keeping the peace and you start creating real conversation in your relationship that is loving and open and productive. And by productive, I mean it doesn't circle around endlessly, but it actually gets you somewhere. So if you are caught in the merry-go-round of avoidance, but you don't have a partner who's ready yet to step into the work, there's something you can do on your own. Find the link in the show notes for the First Move, and I will see you there.